So, greetings for the day. My name is Mohammad Ahmed Ali. So, in today's session, we are going to learn about the differences between hard computing and learning of learning adaptabilities, and what are the different things with reference to hard computing and soft computing. So, in the last session, we learned about what actually is soft computing, how can we use soft computing, and what are the different methods in which soft computing can be used, and what are the different examples by which soft computing can be implemented, and what are the different industries or real-time applications of using soft computing. Now, to get a clear picture of what actually a soft computing is, let me compare the soft computing with hard computing, so that we can precisely understand, or we can clearly understand, the differences between hard computing and soft computing. To remind you all what hard computing is, hard computing depends on exact results. It depends on the exact result. For example, if at all some input is been given, it will give you the exact result, either yes or no, 0 or 1. But whereas in soft computing, the result is not exact but precise, like it will give you some accurate result but not the exact result. Now, coming towards the thing, what hard computing is, hard computing is based on the concept of precise modeling or mathematical or analytical model. In the sense, the hard computing will follow some of the mathematical method, so that it can get some approximate or some exact result of it. For example, 2 plus 3 is always 5. So this type of computing, this type of thing is called as hard computing, or this type of computing of things is called as hard computing. And analyzing to yield accurate results, this is very important. Hard computing always deals with accurate results. It always deals with accurate results. Accurate results in the sense, the input and output will always be very much precise and exact. It will not be analytical type of things. For an instance, if I ask you, if I say, what is the output of a person who is going to the college, what is the thing? The answer that the hard computing will give is yes, he is going, no, he is not going. But when it comes to soft computing, it says yes, he is going to the college, but before that he is doing these type of things. So this is the major difference between hard computing and soft computing. So what is the next thing? Works well for simple problems but is bound by NP complete set. Now, coming towards soft computing, aims to surmount NP complete problem, uses inexact method to give useful but inexact answer to intraceable problems. Now, what do you mean by this? This may look a bit hard for you, but to make it very simple, as I have given an example of whether this X person is going to the college. Hard computing say yes or no. What soft computing will say? Soft computing will say yes, he is going to the college, but he is, before going to the college, he is doing these type of things, and also he will say this person might go to the college or might not go to the college. For an instance, the time is 10:30 now. The person, if at all we are asking this the same question to the hard computer, it will say no, he is not going to the college. But during in past, that person has gone to the college at 11 o'clock also. So the soft computing will say yes, there is a probability, or there is a thing that this person might go to the college. So this is the major difference between the hard computing and soft computing. Now, what is the next statement, which says represents a significant paradigm shift in the aim of computing, a shift which reflects the human mind. In the sense, it learns from the previous type of things. It will learn from the previous action that are been taken. It learns from the previous input that is been given to that computing, or the previous knowledge that it has gained. So what it says, tolerant to imprecision, uncertainty, partial truth and approximation, like I have said you. And the last one says, well suited for real world problem where ideal model is not available. Ideal model is not available. For instance, you prepared for an examination. Let me consider a small example with reference to hard computing and soft computing. You prepared for an examination and you wrote the exam. You got the result. If at all, if you ask the hard computing, it will say whether you have passed or whether you have failed. Either of the answer. If at all, if you ask for the same question to the soft computing, it will say you passed. Also, you got this percent of marks. Also, these were the places where you got less marks. You can improve in further process. So when you study for the next time, you will keep all these things in mind. So where you have lost a mark, for example, you lost your marks during writing, you lost the marks during the margins, or you lost the marks during answering improper way. So you will consider these things for the next exam, so that the same thing will not happen again. So this is the major difference between hard computing and soft computing. So let me learn more about this hard computing and soft computing. What is it is all about? So what hard computing and soft computing says, hard computing, conventional computing requires precisely stated analytical model. For example, the input is given and as well as the output you will get is very much precise or very much accurate. For example, 2 plus 3, 5 plus 8, 1 plus 2, 10 plus 11 or 30 plus 1. So the answer that you will be getting will be very much precise, which will be very much precise. When it comes to soft computing, what soft computing says, soft computing is tolerant of implications. It means it will give you some exact or approximate value. The second point says often requires a lot of computation time, can solve some real world problem in reasonable less time. For instance, I have given an example of exams. In terms of hard computing, it will correct the answers and it will say what marks you have got of this much of marks. For instance, you got 80 marks out of 100 marks. The hard computing will return you, this hard computing will return 80 out of 100, whereas the soft computing will return you 80 out of 100, as well as it will give you where you have done incorrect way and where you have lost your marks. So this is soft computing. Now what is hard computing? Hard computing says not suited for real world problem for which ideal model is not present. For instance, if at all if you analyze the answer script, every other person will write the answer in its own way. Every of the person will write the answer in its own way. If at all that is being corrected with reference to hard computing, that hard computing will follow some of the ideal words. Like for example, this answer should have this terminology, so this is as input. If at all these terms and these inputs are there, you will get full marks. Whereas in soft computing will analyze the content of your answer. If at all the content of your answer is correct or the method that you have approached is correct, then this soft computing will give you the marks. Whereas the hard computing will not give the marks until and unless you give some approximate values or approximate input or keywords. For instance, when you are writing an mathematical examination, the marks is counted for the procedure, for the correct result and for the correct approach. When it comes to hard computing, it will see all of these three things. But when it comes to soft computing, it will see for the procedure and it will see for the approximate answer, but not for the exact answer. For both of the things, in the first case, if you have three things, you will get full marks. Whereas in soft computing, if at all two things are also there, you will get some approximate correct marks. So this is the major difference between hard computing and soft computing. The second one is it requires full truth, and soft computing says can work with partial truth. Like I have said, like full truth in the sense is all of three things. This is all full truth. Whereas in soft computing, you need some partial truth to compute that things. The next one is high cost for solution, low cost for solution. High cost and low cost in the sense the amount of execution of time and also the amount of efforts and resources required for hard computing is more, whereas compared to soft computing. And the next one is require a program to be written. This is very important to remember and understand. Require program to be written can evolve its own program. For this, I will give you a small example. When you were a small kid, you used to learn everything by seeing, or everything was been told to you. Like you were been programmed to say, like you need to go 8 o'clock to school, 4 o'clock back from school. Whereas can evolve its whole program in a sense. Now you will understand, like by seeing the time. Now it's 1 o'clock. It means I am in the school. So this is the difference. It means it will have a complete set of program in which that particular set of program will be executed. Whereas in soft computing, by previous knowledge, by previous inputs, by previous information, the future problems can be solved, in the future things can be done in a correct way or in a very well defined way. So that is the reason soft computing has evolved, to increase the productivity of the system, to increase the learning system, and to improve the quality of the result. The next one says deterministic and stochastic. Like you all know all these things. Require exact input, can deal with ambiguous and noisy data. In the sense, ambiguous in the sense, like I have said, 2 and 3. These three are exact inputs. Whereas with reference to soft computing, it means whether this is the case or that is the case. If this is the thing, then this will happen. If that is the condition, this will happen. In this way, soft computing works. In coming down to the ground, I will say, if at all if you are computing with exact values, then hard computing. If at all if you are computing with approximate value or unambiguous or noisy values, then you are dealing with soft computing. So what is the next point or difference? Produce precise answers, produce approximate answers. Like this is the thing we are learning from the first class, that this hard computing will give precise answer, very exact answer, non-ambiguous answers, whereas soft computing always give you approximate answer but not the exact answer. Approximate answer in the sense, this is the thing that you will get, or this is the thing the problem can be solved, or this is the way how things can be done efficiently. So this is a major difference between hard computing and soft computing. Now coming towards the more differences, like these are some of them. The thing that I have told you in the previous thing, the same thing here it is been said. What hard computing say? There are different type of conventional methods such as Boolean logic, crisp analysis, numerical analysis, deterministic search, analytical model, and binary logic. These conventional methods are also called hard computing techniques. Now what is all these words? Boolean logic, crisp analysis, numerical analysis. What do you mean by this? This is Boolean value in the sense, Boolean values are true, either true or false. Crisp analysis means the crisp analysis will give you only two results, either true or false, or 0 or 1, yes or no. In the sense, it will give you only two answers, or there are only two possibilities with reference to Boolean logic, crisp analysis, numerical analysis. It means it will always give you two results, either 0 or 1, true or false, yes or no. These are the type of answers that you will be getting from hard computing. Whereas when it comes to soft computing, what it says, it makes complete better to handle uncertainty, implication, robustness, low cost, partial truth, and approximation. Soft computing techniques are introduced. Now what is the purpose of computing is introduced? To get some approximate values, to get some approximate things, in which the computing can be done in a way the result that you are getting should not be exact but should be approximate with reference to the input that is been given. For instance, if I ask you, what is 2 plus 3? 2 plus 3 is always 5. What is 2 plus x? 2 plus x might be 5, 2 plus x might not be 5. 2 plus x can be 100, 2 plus x can be 200. So it depends on the input, or it depends on the value of x. So this is a major difference between hard computing and soft computing. Like as I have said you, Boolean value in the sense 2 plus x is equal to 5? No. Until and unless you say what is the value of x, if at all the value of x is known, then only the Boolean value can work. If at all the value of x is always 3, then only the hard computing will return you true, or else in every of the condition, the hard computing will return you a false value. Whereas in soft computing, the soft computing will return you the approximate value. 2 plus x is equal to 5. It might be yes, it might not be yes. It might be no, it might not be no. So in this way, these two things work. For that reason only, to get approximate value, to get approximate results, we introduce, or the thing is being introduced as soft computing. Now coming towards the second point, it says these techniques commonly use arithmetic, science and computing. It means hard computing uses arithmetical values, mathematical calculation, algorithms or procedures and methods for computing that particular task, whereas it intimates the model from nature. Model from nature in the sense, if at all if you have written an examination, like for example, when you have written the engineering examination for the first year, for the first time, you didn't have any of the idea how to write the exam. When it comes to second semester or third semester, then you got an idea how things will work, where to write, where not to write. Whereas if you consider in hard computing, if you write the same way you used to write in intermediate, will you get the marks? No, you will not get the marks. In the sense, hard computing is used for the exact type of things. The way you used to write the SSC examination or intermediate examination, if you write the same type of examination in engineering, you will not get the exact answer, you will not get the exact marks. Whereas if at all if you are using, or if at all if you are going with soft computing, you have learned from the first semester that these type of writing which I used to write in intermediate or what you call as SSC examination will not work in the engineering. So in the second semester, what you will do, you will follow a different model, or you will follow an improvement model, so that you can get more marks. You will get more marks. You will write the same thing, but the way you write the examination will be different. So when it comes to the third point, it says, since conventional methods are used from the beginning of the computational science, these traditional ways of approach requires a lot of computational time. What it means? It means like when you write a logic, like 2 plus is 5, but 2 plus 100 it is giving as 98. So if at all if you are getting a value as 2 plus 3 is 5 plus 2 plus 100 is equal to 98, there is some errors in this. There are some errors. It means this can solve smaller problems, but when it comes to a bigger problem, these computational things cannot solve that type of problem. So what it does, it requires a lot of computational time. It sees like where the logic is getting incorrect, where there is an incorrect method that is been given, by which I am getting an improper result. Whereas this soft computing mimics biological procedure and plays a greater role in development of computational science and act efficiently. It means when you have given input as 2 plus 3, it has given you a 5, and also then when you have said like 5 plus 5, it has given you as an output as 10. It means this system can possibly solve a greater problem. And also when you check with 100 plus 100, it is giving 200, and 100 plus 10 it is giving 110. Sometimes this result can be approximate. For an instance, 100 plus 1.5, it might give you 101 or 102. It depends on the system or the logic that what you have given in the previous things. So it means the soft computing intimates the biological procedure and follows computational science, or it is being used for the computational science to make approximation but not the exact value. What is the next thing it says? The hard computing techniques are inaccurate, inadequate and unreliable. Like I have said you, When it comes to smaller problem, it can resolve the problem, but when it comes to complex type of program, it might not work efficiently. Why? Because the program or algorithm or design is not been that much efficient to solve that particular problem. But whereas it comes to soft computing, it says this might solve that particular problem with reference to the previous input and previous knowledge. It means like the soft computing, you say, is like a human brain. The more you fail, the more you will realize, and the more you do efficiently. The more you achieve good things, the more you will perform in the further things. This is the way. Whereas when it comes to hard computing, it's something like you have given an input, you got an output. That's all the thing. The program is all in that machine. Everything is on that particular thing. So it means you have given an input and you have got an output. Whereas in soft computing, you will get some approximation type of values. The next thing is like the programs that are written by using these techniques are deterministic, like I have told you. The input and output is always been known. Like when it comes to software development, or with reference to computer science, this is the only field wherein you know the input, also you know the output. But the only thing that you need to do is you need to have that computational skills to make this input to that particular output. That's the only thing that we need to do in computer science. You know the input as well as you know the output, but the only thing that you need to do is to find a relation between those inputs with reference to the output. That's the only thing that you need to do. Now what is the next thing? It says the soft computing techniques are developed mainly to be better results for NP, non-deterministic polynomial complete program. In a sense, it is what you call as like a type of predictive type of things in which the output is not exact, but it is approximate type of things. It depends on the things. So what the next thing it says? It involves precise input data and sequential procedures. And the soft computing says, unlike hard computing, the inputs are adjusted to optimize the results. The last point says it can produce exact but not approximate answers. And the soft computing says for any given information, the process can give the best result by maximizing the desired benefit and minimizing the undesired one at low cost solution. So this is a major difference between hard computing and soft computing. So at the ground level, what we need to understand is a soft computing is similar to a human brain. A soft computing is similar to a human being, which takes the lessons from the previous things, whether it is good or whether it is bad, and it takes those lessons for the futuristic approximation of the values, or it takes for the futuristic approximation of the value. Whereas the hard computing is something like you gave the input, you got the output. That's the only thing that is been done. For an instance, you went to a shop, you ordered a coffee, you got the coffee. It will ask you like which type of coffee you want, latte, cappuccino, XYZ type of things. So you will give some specific input. So for with reference to the specific input, you will get the specific output. That's the only thing. Whereas when it comes to soft computing, you went to a restaurant, you said like I need this biryani, but I need a chicken biryani along with these type of things. So that is what you call as soft computing. Soft computing is like you can modulate or you can adjust things, but where in hard computing you cannot adjust things. You will get the exact input, you will get the exact output. So that's the major difference between hard and soft computing. Now moving further, some application of soft computing techniques. So like I have already told you in the previous session, some of the applications of soft computing in real world, like fuzzy neuron, like structural and parametrical learning. This we are going to learn in the coming session. Just for an idea, I have told you in the previous things, like in the realistic world, like patient, doctor, and with reference to teacher, student. So that is what you like the application techniques that is used in the soft computing. Like as I have told in the previous session, like in different industry, like handwritten script recognition. In the previous slides or in the previous session, I told you with reference to this, like with reference to in different forms it recognizes as A only. In this way, with reference to bioinformatics, like the bioinformatics with reference to when I am young, so I'll be giving a biometric, so it will recognize. If at all this got hurt, this got like my thumb got hurt and I am giving a biometric, it might recognize or it may not recognize, but with reference to soft computing, it need to recognize with reference to my fingerprints. Like if at all, if you also have heard about, like when it comes to Aadhaar card recognition, sometimes the biometric doesn't work. Why? Because your fingerprints or old people fingerprints will not work when they have given. No, for now it's not working. So in this way the approximation can take place. So this is all about the implementation or the application of soft computing in different industries. Like you can go through with these things with reference to your textbook and with reference to the books subscribed or like given for you. Now coming further, like these are the more application of soft computing in different industries: communication, home appliances, robotics, transportation and healthcare. Now this is very important to understand and this is very important to learn with reference to soft computing as well as artificial intelligence with reference to machine learning. What is the concept of learning and adaptation? Now what do you mean by learning and adaptation means? Learning and adaptation is a process which never ends. This is a never ending process. The more you learn, the more you adapt. The more you understand, the more you are comfortable with the things. For an instance, if at all if I tell you a small example with reference to learning and adaptation, it means when you are, like for instance, you might not be a good speaker on the stage, you might be having a stage fear, but the more you go onto the stage, the more you speak, you will feel confident that I can do these things. I can do these things. The more you practice, the more you will be comfortable, the more you understand the things and the more you deal with the things. So that is the concept of learning and adaptation. That is the major concept of learning and adaptation that comes with the human things. The same thing we are trying to do with the computers also. How we can do it? The more you will be giving the input, the more learn, like the more it will learn, the more it can perform the task, the more it can do the things. Now, what it says, learning adaptation can be collectively called as machine learning, which can be defined as a branch of computer science which enables computer system to learn and respond to queries on the basis of experience and knowledge rather than from predefined programs. This is very important. Predefined program in the sense, like if at all if it is predefined, like if at all if you have predefined, like I need to go to the stage, I need to say hi, hello and come back, will you be learning anything? No, you will not be learning anything. If at all for the first time you go and say like my name is so and so, and if at all if you come back, if at all if you think in this way, if at all if you do this same thing 100 times, you will not improve your skills. Like the first day you went on the stage and you say like my name is so and you came back. The second day you say my name is so and I am studying in this particular college and I am studying in this branch, you came back. You will feel more comfortable speaking this. Though you may be feeling some stage fear, but you will be feeling confident that I spoke this much for the yesterday. I spoke 10 minutes now. Yesterday I spoke 5 minutes. So in this way you will learn. If at all if it isn't predefined that you need to speak only for 3 minutes, only for 2 minutes, then you will not learn more things. If at all the things are being predefined for the things, you may not learn for everything, but you can understand the formality can be done, but you will not be learning new things. To learn new things or to adapt for the things, you know, the things should not be fixed, it should be very much comfortable. Now next, as it says, also it can be classified into supervised, unsupervised and reinforced learning. Like these are three things that we are going to study in the coming presentation slides. Then next what it says, learning is a process in which the acquisition of knowledge or skills through study, experience or being taught. In the sense, like see, learning methods and understanding methods are of different types. Like you see Like you learn by seeing, you learn by speaking, you learn by doing things, you learn work like staying there, you learn by being in that situation, you learn by taking others forward to you. So in these things, like in different situation, you learn different things. For instance, like as of now, IPL is going on. The experience of only talking about IPL is different. The experience of seeing an IPL is different. The experience of being in the stadium and seeing the live match is different. In the sense, though IPL is only one, but the experience is different with reference to your personal things. If at all, if you have been into the stadium, you will feel a different type of, you will see a different type of knowledge when compared to you seeing an IPL match live on a TV. So this is a difference. So in the sense, like how you have been learning or how you have been taught that particular thing, you will understand based on it. Now what is the last thing? Adaptation refers to the act of process of adapting and adjustment to environmental conditions. So like the more you are into the situation, the more you are into that things, the more you will understand that particular situation. The more you are into that, you will understand those things. Now coming towards the different types of learning and adaptation. Learning and adaptations are of three types: supervised, unsupervised and reinforced. Now what do you mean by supervised, unsupervised and reinforced? To understand this, you take an example of a school going kid on e-learning system. A student is going to the school and a student who is learning online or from the YouTube or directly he is learning from his own way. Which will give you a proper result? The person or the student who is going to the school there is more chance that that student can give you more amount of result. That results are more dependent. So that is what we call as supervised and unsupervised learning. Now, what do you mean by supervised and unsupervised learning? First, we'll see about unsupervised learning. Then we'll see for supervised learning. Unsupervised learning, in the sense, as the term says, unsupervised in the sense there is no priority or no superior force which is controlling the thing or which is controlling the subordinate. There is no teacher for that particular student. There is no student from that particular student. So it is learning by its own. For this instance, I will give you a small example. Let me consider a small child who has been born or who is 1 or 2 years old. So what he will do? He will try for every of the possible things to learn more and more things. Though he has not been taught anything like how to do these things and how to do that particular thing, but he is trying to do those things by its own. By its own, he is trying to do that particular thing, those particular things. For that is what we call as unsupervised learning. What it says, when learning can be used to draw inference from data set containing input, it is called as unsupervised learning. Or in computer terms, I can say there is no input to that, but it is having some outputs to it. It means there is no input but having some outputs, or there are some inputs but there are no approximate correct outputs. So that is what we call as unsupervised learning. The second one says it clusters the data on the basis of similarities according to the characteristics found in data and grouping similar objects into clusters. For instance, I will tell you, if you give a small mobile phone or you give a mobile phone to a small kid, he will try to operate the mobile phone by seeing others. Like when you were using the mobile phone, that small kid have seen you, like how you have unlocked or locked the phone, how you have went to the gallery. So this is what we call as unsupervised learning. He has not been taught like how to use that particular mobile phone, but he is able to use that particular mobile phone. Why? Because he has observed the things, or he has taken some inputs from others. He has seen the output, how you are doing the things. So that particular type of things are called as unsupervised learning. So what is the next? It says the class labels on the training data is not known in advance. That is no predefined class. That child is not been told, or that child is not been trained to use that mobile phone. but still he is using it. But still he is using it. That is what you call as unsupervised learning. Like they will form some clusters of memory. The cluster of memory in the sense, like to unlock the phone I should press this, to go into the gallery this is the icon that I should click, or if at all if I want to make a call, this is the call button that I need to press. So he will find, like he will having some cluster of memories in his mind, so that he can use that particular things. These type of things which are unsupervised are called as, or these type of things in computer language or machine learning is called as unsupervised learning. Now coming toward supervised learning, the opposite of unsupervised learning is supervised learning. Now what do you mean by the supervised learning? Supervised learning in the sense, you will be given the output, although you should produce that particular amount of output. For instance, you are coming to the college, you are taking classes, and to pass that subject you should get that particular amount of marks. Then only you are being considered as a pass candidate. Or else, if at all if you are learning, then you are not producing that particular amount of result, then you are not considered as a valid or passed student. You should repeat that things until and unless you get that particular amount of result. That is what you call as supervised learning. So what do you mean by this? This means you will be having certain amount of input with reference to some certain amount of output. In the sense, there are some inputs as well as there is some output. So this is the major difference between supervised and unsupervised learning. Like the best example of supervised learnings are the students, faculties, the normal human beings, researchers, scientists. So what they will do, they will have some inputs, they will produce some outputs. They will be learning something, they will be experiencing something. So this is what we call as supervised learning. Now coming towards the last type of learning, it is reinforcement learning, which says it will give you reward or some other, like it will either give you reward or it will give you unreward type of things when you take some particular type of actions. For an instance, let me take an example of playing a video game. In that, either you kill someone or you will gain something. When you kill someone, you will gain some point. Or if someone kills you, he will gain some point. In the sense, when you are, for every of the action, there is some positive and there is something called as negative behavior. Some positive behavior, some negative behavior. This can be considered with reference to playing games or management, or with reference to finance, with reference to robotics. For every of the actions, there will be a reaction. That reaction can be positive or that reaction can be negative. So it depends upon the action and the path that you have taken. Like when you are playing a game, in that you move forward as well as you take some points. At the same time, you kill someone. It means you are taking the points and also you are defeating the enemy. You are doing two things. Like if at all enemy sees you first, he will kill you, and also you have taken the point. So this is a parallel process that is going. So that type of learning or thing is called as reinforcement learning, in which for every of the step it will reward you or it will take the rewards from you, either of the things. This type of learning is called as reinforcement learning. So I repeat that there are three types of learning: supervised, which will have a particular input with reference to the particular output; unsupervised learning, in which you will not have particular input but you will have particular output, or you might have some particular output but without any particular input. With reference to reinforcement learning, the last one, it says like for every of the movement that you take, it will be rewarded or the rewards will be taken. In the sense, for every of the action, there will be some of the reaction, some of the reactionary step to it. So these are the three different types of learning. Now this comes to the end of our first chapter. These are the books that is recommended from the university for the studying of the things. So if at all if you have any doubt, you can contact me on this particular email address, and as well as you can follow me on the LinkedIn profile, or you can ask me on that particular LinkedIn you can message me over there, as well as you can follow me on my YouTube channel, on which I'm uploading this video. Thank you for listening, and like this completes our first unit. If at all if you have any doubt, like I'll be making a Q&A type of session on Zoom, and I'll be sharing the links with you. On that you can come up with all of your questions which can be answered over there. And if at all if you have any of the queries, let me know. I'll try my best to answer you in the best of way. This completes our first unit. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for listening the session, and see you in the next session. That's all for today. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.